When we grow up, I refer to a Western society. We grow up in a performance-oriented society. We need to learn how to talk. We need to learn how to have good results on school. We need to learn a lot of things, but we actually do not learn to be ourselves. So slowly then we start needing those results. And because from the results we kind of get the idea that we exist. I do, so I am. But you should actually experience to know that you are. So horses need horses. But that doesn't mean that human cannot give any added value. Especially for horses living in a society where, for example, they get to know new horses, and as a human you can really facilitate their getting to know each other. So it is not that we have to choose between doing something with horses always having an impact on them, or doing nothing at all with horses and just leave them on the mountain. We live in a society that there are many animals that we encounter, and it is actually a very egoistic idea to not have anything to do with any other horse or any other animal for that point of view, just to make sure that you can't influence them in a negative way. We really need to grow as human and get that animality, as Francesco would like to say, out of us to understand how you can deal with others without influencing them in a negative way. That is actually the beauty of life. That we can learn how to become more of ourselves, to preserve the other, and to allow the other also to become more of them. So there is an integration possible. But that means that in every dialogue and in every interaction, we actually change a little bit. And also the horse changes a little bit. But change as in a positive thing. Change as in having one small experience that will actually make you grow. So it is also nice to say you have to change to become yourself. And of course in this world we are full of leadership and dominance and self-affirmation and all that stuff, but that is just part of social pressure. That is just part of a society that is too focused on getting results done and is actually forgetting how to live and enjoy each other. And the most difficult thing, apart from letting go of control, but that is also just a habit that actually grows upon you in Western society. The most difficult thing to let go of is the expectation. Even if it's a good expectation. So an expectation, I want my horse to be obedient, of course makes you focus on desired behavior. But also an expectation, I want my horse to be happy, creates a focus on desired behavior. So expectations are always create a filter in actually not living that moment together, in actually not experiencing together. Another problem of our society is the existence of methods. And methods should be able to facilitate, but methods, because we are so performance oriented and we think that goal setting is the right thing to do, and again that you only exist if you can accomplish things. Actually, in an interaction with somebody else, we have learned not to experience ourselves, but to focus on the other and to see how others react upon us. So we look for affirmation of who we are according to how the other responds on us. And this is actually very much happening in horse worlds and creating also a very difficult situation of being actually able to experience each other. So people who walk upon a horse, they will look for a horse that will stand still or come towards them. Because a horse walking away would immediately become something like oh, did I do something wrong? Or oh, he doesn't want to? Or so a lot of questioning, because we focus so much on what our expression and our presence does with somebody else. So that is what makes us focus also on desired behavior. And to help creating and staging the right behavior or the right situation, we look for methods. Because methods give people that feeling that they can control a situation and that they can stage the right outcome. And with the right outcome you have proof that everything is okay. So you learn a method how to play with a horse. But is that really playing? Why would you like to play? Why would you not just see an experience and be curious to the other and follow somebody else's attention? So we look for methods to improve physical expression. But the physical expression is something that belongs to the horse, not something that you as a human by a method should be able to manipulate. So methods actually takes us away from real knowledge, from understanding what we are doing, what a horse is doing, and who we are, and we can learn about that again. But that, like what Francesco has been talking about, asks for knowledge from science, but also knowledge from philosophy and knowledge from politics, knowledge from personal growth, knowledge from social dynamic, knowledge from a lot of different fields that makes us come back to who we are and allows a horse to go back to who he is. We have to deconstruct actually a lot of habits that we grew up with from equestrian culture, but also from our society. We as a human, we are born cognitive as well. But cognition is not simply related to our ability to speak. That is a whole different chapter that creates a lot of confusion. Cognition is the ability to be curious and process information from the world. So a little child that sees a goat for the first time, or a group of goats, probably is really fascinating about the goat being goat and how that goat actually explores the world. But as an adult, not really knowing what to do and how to create entertainment from that kind of situation, we would suggest to go and feed the goat. So go, feed the goat. But the goat is probably already on grass, so he's fully able to eat for himself. And feeding, even if it's often used as some kind of element or method if we want to create relationship, feeding is not about a social exchange in that moment, because a goat that is eating grass is focused on the grass, not focused on who is that child, and the child is not focused on who is that goat anymore. The focus is on if you are able to make him eat, which is not something that you are exchanging really at that moment, not as two sentient beings, not as two individuals getting to know each other. So from there we actually learn how to react upon each other instead of how to grow from each other, how to have the goat explore you and feel how that is and understand how interesting that is from the goat point of view. Well, if you then think, so maybe that we underestimate ourselves, that we could actually be interesting for the goat, that is the same reasoning that you can apply towards horses. We could be interesting for horses, but what we usually do is a very simplistic coexistence. We go walk straight up, put things on or brush a little bit. It's very, if you want to, it's very boring actually, the way we behave and what we do. So when Francesco talks about the socio-cognitive model that we teach, we also teach about how to become interesting again for yourself and for the horses, how to create adventure together. And that is actually something that many people long to, really being able to exchange something. And in that whole tradition of horse riding culture focus, being able to make a horse do something, we completely forget, and maybe we actually lose lose even the belief that the horse might be interesting in a human, and might even want to do something with a human. That is another fear, which is actually a vicious circle. The more we ask from them, of course it is logical, the less intrigued they are about what you can do with a human. I repeat, we are actually, talking about a conventional way of being, we tend as humans to become really boring for animals, for horses, for dogs as well. We try to then to change that, for example, by more modern ideas about doing groundwork and playing, and but that is still, I mean, a very anthropocentric way. It is not letting the horse tell you something and be in tune with the horse's interest, because that asks us as a human to be really agile inside, to not have a predefined plan. Today we're going to do something fun and then you arrive with the horse and maybe a whole different situation could develop and should be able to develop. It depends on, it's like going out with a friend. You might have a nice idea, but if the situation is different, the best thing you can do is be in tune with somebody else and change the whole idea of whatever you can do and just enjoy in a whole different way.